Hi all, so this is Sean from Time and Talk. Today I thought I'd make a video about an interesting question that I've been asking myself. Apologies for the videos being a bit thrown together because I've been struggling for time recently. But I thought an interesting topic is, does it matter who designed your watch? So I was thinking about this, and obviously when you think about subjects like art or music, we expect someone to have designed it, someone to have written that song, someone to have painted that painting, but maybe we don't think about that as much in terms of watches. And I guess it depends in a way, like how we consider watches. Like, do we consider them to be works of art? Are they pieces of jewelry? Are they just functional items, if you like? And it tends to be that we don't often know who designed our watch, or maybe you do, to be honest. Maybe you're more knowledgeable than me. So I've got the Rolex Explorer on, and I don't know who designed the watch. I just imagine it was designed by Rolex, if you like. So there are a few famous watch designers that you might know of. Obviously, the most obvious example, and hit me in the comments if you know any more and tell me more. I'm always eager to learn. Gerald Genta is an obvious example. He designed the Nautilus, the Royal Oak. I think he designed one of the Omega constellations. He designed a bunch of watches. He had his own watch company as well. And he is the kind of superstar of the watch designer world. And a lot of his designs are really, really well known and really, really well loved as well. And then we've got designers like, just check my notes, Roger Tallon. Roger Talon is a guy who designed the TGV, the trains in France, and he designed the LIP Mac 2000. Put a picture of these watches on the screen as well so you can see them. Obviously, what's probably springing to mind at the moment is that a lot of these pieces that are designed by someone who is an industrial designer will look like they've been designed by an artist, if you like. They'll look a little bit different to your average, circle time only watch, if you like. And you've got Nathan George Horwitt, and I learned something when I was researching this video. He designed the museum watch, which was originally apparently produced by LeCoultre, but it's now most famous for being a Movado watch. Again, I'll put a picture of it on the screen. Quite a simple dress watch with a little circular emblem on the dial, which is quite an interesting watch, really. It's got a bit more history than I would have expected, to be honest. I'm familiar with the watch. I've thought about buying it a couple of times because it's quite interesting, but I didn't know that it was designed by a designer and that it originally was produced by LeCoultre. So that adds another element to the watch. It's quartz in the main, so people can be a bit snobby about those things, but that's an element of history that I didn't know it had. And you've got Jorg Hysek, who designed the Vacheron Constantin 222, which is apparently, and I didn't know this until I researched this video as well, the precursor of the Overseas, the Vacheron Constantin Overseas, and also designed watches such as the Tag Heuer Kyrium. And it's interesting because some of these watches haven't really stood the test of time. I mean, obviously not the Constantina Overseas, but the Kyrium, it looks a bit dated now. And that's something else that's quite interesting. Maybe it's because it's been designed at a particular time by a particular person, and taste change and things like that. And then another one that sprung to mind when I was thinking about designers of watches was Max Bill, who was from the Bauhaus school, I think, and he designed the Junghans Max Bill, which is a relatively famous watch design. Again, I'll put a picture up on the screen. So like I said, some interesting watches that have been designed by designers as opposed to being designed by a company or being designed by committee, if you like. And for me, it gives an extra element to that watch and makes you, or could make you, appreciate it a little bit more and think about the watch as a work of art, as a thing that's got a person behind it rather than just an object. So I was thinking, is it vital that we know who designed these watches? In terms of a pros and cons list, first of all, no. It's a functional item. So as long as it's functional, and designers will tend to design things from an aesthetic standpoint, and you could just think about it in terms of function. You need the time, you need the date, you need things like that. And does that need the designer? Potentially not. Is that a work of art? Perhaps not. It's function over form, really. A question: do you know who designed your watch? As I've said, I currently own 8 watches, and I don't know who designed any of them. So in that way, it's not like a piece of music or a work of art. I literally do not know these designers behind these watches. Think about things like military watches. You're not really going for aesthetic purposes, and it's not about who designed it. It's not a work of art in the same way as a painting is. Even watches by massive brands, we don't know who designed them. Apparently, we don't know who designed the Daytona. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I read recently. And does it matter? Does it matter who's designed it if it's a well-designed watch? I mean, it's an interesting question in terms of things like, I'm a big fan of music and art and things like that. Would you listen to a song that was written by a computer, or would you listen to a cover version, for example, of someone who hadn't written their own songs? We tend to be snobby about things like that, but does it really matter if the thing gives you pleasure? In terms of a yes, it gives a further insight and history to the piece. I mean, I like the idea that Gerald Genter designed this watch and his hand is behind it. Or think about, even it doesn't really correspond to how much the watch cost. Kiko eBay, who designed the very first G-Shock, that's an extra element to that watch that makes it interesting. And that watch is £80, £60. It's very affordable, but it has that history, and it recently, 37 years old, that design. Do we really want, in terms of a yes, do we really want a watch that's designed by a committee to make people like it? Isn't something like a watch, or maybe I'm getting a little bit too philosophical here, but isn't something like a watch supposed to be divisive and challenge us a little bit? Not sure about that, but it also separates some of the watches that we love from lesser watches, that pinch other people's designs. So things like homage watches, things like watches that just go and copy the Submariner and things like that. Is that interesting? Perhaps not. And in terms of, you could consider watches to be like a work of art, and to really prize that design influence and that fact that it's more than just an object. It's something with aesthetic worth, if you like. So yeah, in terms of that, I just thought I'd make a quick video on that question. I think it's an interesting one. Hit me in the comments, tell me what you think. And again, if you know of any famous watch designers, put them in the comments, and I'll learn more about that. If you like my channel, please subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.